Here we go. We're talking about feature lines, and one of the first things I want to show you, for those of you who have been dealing with these types of things before, all I've done here in preparation, and again just to save time, I've made a feature line here, which basically is a pad at a particular elevation. There's another one, there's another one, and then I basically drew a feature line in here and down here as well. Now I'm going to get into how to do all that in a bit, but I wanted to show you this little tool. Once I drew the feature lines connecting, I could make the infill area here. In other words, that whole thing now is a pad, okay? And if you wanted to see that kind of a thing, let me just show you what I've done. I have a pad here that's all three of those. It's a I have a surface there that's all three of those. And if I go down here to the object viewer, then of course we can view this 3D pad now, and that's pretty typical. I mean, that's not unreasonable, okay, for going down some pads from on a bit of a hill. So that's what I've done, and that's my preparation surface. Now the other thing that I did is I drew this feature line right here, and the only way I did that, and I'll show you this again a little bit later, I'm going to go ahead and delete that one for the moment, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Okay, so here's my toolbar for feature lines. This whole thing right across here, this is the new one, and these are all pretty powerful. After you use them a few minutes, you'll get used to what they are and what they do. But the first thing I did was go over here and I said, okay, let's draw a feature line. So that's, to me, that's a little bit easier than going up here to grading and pull down and do this stuff. So the buttons are kind of nice in this case, and I'm not a big huge fan of buttons because, as you know, coming from version 2, that's basically when you had to type everything in. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now with the snap mode on, this makes it all quite simple. You'll notice that when I click there, it pulls the elevation, or I can hit surface to pull an elevation from a surface, and then of course I have to choose the surface. So that's okay. I'm going to leave that one at 791. Now these two corners are flat, so when I do that, you'll also see down here on the command line elevation 791, and the slope down here is 0. So I could change anything here that I want to. So in other words, I could go over here and hit enter the grade. Okay, so I could change the grade from the previous point to this point, and it would calculate the elevation of that point. I can type in the elevation specifically. I can put a difference. So in other words, I can say let's go down 0.2. I want to drop 2/10. Okay, or on this particular one, I get a surface. So all these options down here are very critical, and you need to know that they're there. All right, so I'm going to hit enter for that one, and then of course I go to the next one. Now this one, see, I'm down 2 feet. I'm at 789. Okay, and of course I'm going to keep that, so it's telling me my grade minus 25 to 1. And then I'm going to go to the next corner, and there you go. So that one's also 776. Okay, there we go. Whoops, what happened now? Oh, I got an automatic rebuild on my surface, sorry. And then we got that one there, and then the final one over there. All right, and so these things are getting rebuilt as we go. That's all right. So now let's look at that line, and I'll just show you now. We can go up here to the grading editor, the elevation editor. The other way that you used to do that was to right-click and go to the elevation editor. Well, it's right here now, so it makes it a little bit quicker. Okay, now I've got some problems here. I've got my osnaps are all off down here. That's what's happened. That's why this surface is doing some rather strange things. So that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and fix it, and I can fix it here. This one being 789 and 786. I know this one's supposed to be 789. So if I click in there, I can do the 789 thing. Hit enter, and yeah, okay. But that's a little bit irritating for me. Okay, I want to change this last one down here, but I'm going to change it in a different fashion to show you another one of the tools. Okay, this time instead of doing the grading elevation editor right here, I'm going to do the next one over, which is a quick elevation edit. Now when I do that, see, I can move any place I want, and as I move, notice the white box right next to it. See, that's 791. When I move over here, that's 791. That's 789. That's 789. Everything's cool. That one down there is 786, but this one down here is not. So when I click on it now, I can say 786, hit enter, and it'll change it. And you notice that it did exactly what I wanted it. So what happened was my osnaps, I was getting the wrong thing in there, so to speak. I had some lines behind these, and so that's what happened. Now the other way I could have done that, notice when I've got my mouse up here, I've got the ability now to change the grade. So if I'm designing and I'm sitting here at 786 and I come down here at 786, when I come up here, see this grade is flat, okay? I've got a grade there of 0%. If I wanted to grade this pad going back uphill here at, let's say, 1%, as long as my arrow is pointing up that direction, see it changing from pointing down to pointing up, I'm going to go up here and hit. Now I'm just going to click there, and it says what's the grade. Well, I'll go at let's see, now I don't want grade, I want it slope. There we go. I want S for slope. I think I want slope. I always get those two backwards. Dag on it. Nope, I wanted grade. Oh well, that's all right. So we'll change it again. I do that every time, and it really irritates me. All right, so we'll go back to the grade of 2%, and that fixes it. That's a little bit better. Now you can see that the elevation at the back corner there is 787, and then of course 786. So the rest of these three corners are flat. And again, it's very easy to do this. See that now my grade there is 3.06. If I click and put in 0, it takes that elevation back. Boy, what a powerful tool, and what a great way to design things, just being able to use this one tool right here. It's probably one of my favorites that they've come out with, is just that one.